Welcome back to the Beyond the Cleats podcast. I'm here with Miss Ailaina Keeley, and today we're going to be talking about something that I know is near and dear to my heart. When Ailaina brought it up to me and said, Mina, we should talk about this, I was like, absolutely. So today we're going to be talking about mentorship and coaching. What's the difference? What's the importance of it? And how can you become a really good mentor, or how can you find a really good mentor? We're going to get into it today. So without further ado, I'm going to let Ailaina kick it off for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first part of it is funding the definitions.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
What's the difference between a coach and a mentor? And a coach, a lot of people know. It's you see them on the sidelines. They're standing there barking a bunch of things at people, but there's a lot more to it, right? It's very goal-oriented and systematic, and there's usually some sort of timeline involved with coaching. So for soccer, at least, we want to get to a championship, which I feel like most sport teams do. So we have 12 games, 18 games, whatever it is that season, and we'll have specific goals throughout the season to try and accomplish that goal of the end all, which is winning the championship, which every team wants. Everyone likes to win. Mentorship is a little bit different. For me, mentorship is a lot more long-term, and unlike coaching, it's not necessarily a step-by-step of what we need to accomplish to get something done. It's more of a professional development, or could be also a career developmental stage as well, depending on what you're looking for, what you're seeking out. But a lot of it is not only just sports or just parts of your lives. It's all encompassing every part of you and what you're looking to develop and grow as a person. And I think a lot of mentors, they just have the ability to pull out things of their own lives to share with whoever they're trying to mentor,
So would you say coaches, from a coaches versus mentor perspective, coaches are more on the technical skills aspect and have a more focus on kind of the technical skills? So for soccer, footwork, strategy. If it's in the sales space, it's, cold calls, those kind of hard skills.
Absolutely,
those
tangibles.
Yeah.
You can measure it.
Where mentorship is more so kind of those intangibles.
You can't measure it, right? You can't measure how much of a relationship you have with someone, and it's based off of mutual trust and respect. That's the big thing with mentorship that you don't always get with coaches. You can have a coach who's also your mentor, but sometimes you don't have mentors that are coach. It goes one or the other.
You can have a really good coach that really knows their stuff,
yeah,
but maybe they're not a good mentor. I've had coaches like that, really good coaches, know their stuff, really good with strategy.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to stuff maybe outside the game,
life stuff,
or
right?
Life stuff, there's maybe not a lot to offer there. Or on the flip side, you have really good coaches. I keep bringing up one of the most influential coaches I've had was Coach Bustos, who was my batting coach. Not only was she very good on the technical side, literally built my swing from the ground up, but also gave me little nuggets of truth of
wisdom,
how to deal with teammates. And it just came almost came naturally. It wasn't something they were just trying to do. It's just something that they it's almost they bestowed upon you. It'd just be after a workout, I'd maybe be talking about stuff. Maybe she figured something was bothering me, and she just nugget of truth.
Magic pixie dust, and you can go forward with the information. Right, that's what a mentor is, right? They give you something, and you can either go with it or not. That's how a lot of advice is, right? You can talk and talk and talk, kind of what we're doing. We can keep talking. People can take what they want. They don't have to take anything from it. But if it resonates with you and you move forward with it and you can teach someone else it, that's how the mentorship cycle goes. You know what I mean? You take everything that you have ever learned is from someone else. And if you think that you're creating something, usually you've probably got it from somewhere else. Right? You're not just gonna come out with something out of thin air. It's oh, that painting made me think of this. Someone made that painting, so that came from there, right? Yeah. So that's kind of how mentorship works. They drop some sort of something that resonates with you, and you can take it and move forward with it and teach other people.
Oh yeah, 100%. The best piece of advice I ever got was you are going to be a product of many different coaches. You're going to be exposed to many different coaching styles, many different teachings. Again, this could be in the workplace. At my fellowship, I'm surrounded by a bunch of very smart people, become principal investigators, PhDs, very awesome people. And you're going to take bits and pieces from them. Same thing with coaches. You're going to have a lot of, especially in the sports realm, you're going to have so many different coaches, high school, club ball, college, instructors. Not everything is going to work for you. And it's about taking bits and pieces that work for you, and then that's what creates your foundation, whether
Absolutely.
it's athletically or in the workplace. Now, let me ask you this. Mentorship is so important to both of us. And I think that's also because we've both probably encountered really good coaches and really good mentors. What is a mentor that influenced you?
Yeah, I mean, I've had, like you said, you go ups and downs with coaches and with mentors and things like that. I have been fortunate enough to have some really good mentors that were also coaches, but also professionally I have a bunch of them as well. But we'll just stick to the sports because here we are. One of my all-time female coaches that like just had an instrumental impact on me.
What was a golden nugget you took from her that you use not only on the athletic field, but maybe you could also translate, to everyday work life?
To be honest, a lot of the like things that were mentorship for me were things that she did outside of coaching for me. And that goes like really far. When someone will come out of what they're supposed to do for you, which is coaching, right? She's supposed to be my coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's mentorship, is going the extra mile, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I wanted to play college sports. I knew it for a long time. And I think it was my sophomore year of high school, maybe my junior year, one of those times. She wasn't even my coach anymore, actually. She had stepped back for like personal reasons or something, or she was coaching at the collegiate level, I think, at that point. And she knew I wanted to play, and she actually reached out to me and was like, hey, you want to have a sit down and like talk about like what colleges you want to do, what's tangible, what's not tangible, step by step, how can we accomplish these things to get you where you want to be. And like we literally just went to a coffee shop and probably talk shop for like, I don't know, whatever length of time it took for us to come to a conclusion of
That's
what we
awesome.
needed to
Yeah,
fulfill.
she just kind of took time out of her day.
Absolutely. It was like, let's go get coffee, let's go do this and talk about it. But it was like a drop of a hat she would do it. And I'm sure she does it with tons of other people. I'm sure the amount of people that she probably touches is astronomical. And that's just because of the person that she is, but also the respect and trust that like we've shared. Because I feel like if I wasn't the athlete I was, she probably wouldn't want to mentor me either, right? So it goes both ways. You take and you learn from everyone that you have conversations with. And I think that's what's so valuable about the relationship, is that it's like she took time out of her life, her busy life, to come and help this like high school kid get to where I wanted to be in life. And still we have that relationship.
Well, and if I can be a little objective here, there was probably also something within you, some sort of display, like your also willingness and your interest in your work ethic, that also probably motivated her to help you in some way. Yeah. So I feel like mentorship can also be a two-way street there. You can get mentors who, they want to mentor people, they want to help people, but I feel like you're not going to just go out of your way to just mentor anybody. You could be a very giving person, but it's also, she probably looked at you and it's like, okay, this kid's a hard worker, this kid is motivated, she wants to get recruited, I'm going to take time out of my day and I'm going to help her out because I know this kid's a hustler and I want to help her. So there's a little bit of that motivation there.
And we're going to take it one step further, and she wasn't even coaching the sport that I wanted to be recruited for.
There you go.
So it just goes to show that like it doesn't, like all these things don't have to be like in line. Like she didn't have to be my soccer coach to bring me to collegiate soccer. She just had to give me these nuggets of wisdom that we
little
take.
golden nuggets. Some you
and move
take,
forward
some
with.
you don't take.
Right.
And it builds you up.
Right, exactly. That relationship, that cycle of that back and forth conversation, deep, meaningful relationships, deep, meaningful conversations, kind of what we're doing here at the podcast, things like
100%.
that foster the environment in which people feel safe and respected. And that also pushes forward growth and momentum and that development that you're looking for in life, because everyone seeks that. Everyone wants that. Everyone wants a personal connection. You're not going to get that if you don't step out of your comfort zones and you don't like try. First off, I think one of the number one things you can do for people is like mentor and guide people, right? So if you have information, why not share it with others?
It goes back to, if you have something to share and they have something to share, it's a symbiotic. I feel like mentorship is 100% a symbiotic relationship, because your mentor, I think a little bit unlike a coach, if we can circling back to kind of that coach mentor analogy that you made. Again, there are some coaches that I still follow. I see pictures of like their kids at Christmas. There's a relationship there. And then there's other coaches where I hope they're alive. I hope they're doing well. I couldn't tell you where they are, but I wish them all the best, because there's just not that relationship there. Mentors become part of your network. They become part of your growth, because there's something, they're not teaching you, they're teaching you both the extrinsic, but they're also teaching you the intrinsic.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, just a tidbit on that real life side. Text message from a coach this morning asked me how I was that I used to play for. Now, I transferred out of the school. I completely left the school. Like, they have no reason to like really invest in like keeping that relationship. But I still hear from them, because that's the relationship we have. And to be honest, I still text them and ask how they are, and that sort of relationship. Now my soccer coach from my other institution only reaches out for money and if they need something, right? So that's the difference. If that just doesn't point it out right there, like, you know what I mean? I have one coach that asks me how I am and what's up in my life and where I'm at, what I'm doing, things like that. And I have other ones that just reach out because they want me to talk to her crew, or like they want me to donate to the team.
Yeah, and that becomes part of your network. It's one of those things. Think about it from this perspective. You're a coach, right? And you're building up your coaching career. It's in its infancy, and that's super exciting.
Yeah.
And you have these other coach contacts. Think about it from, I'll try to use some soccer jargon. Let's say you're out recruiting. You got a kid that's a forward. Let's say they're a pretty solid, good person, but you're not looking for a forward. You need like X, Y, and Z players.
Yep.
You're calling up, hey, coach so-and-so. I got this kid. They're a really good hustler. I think they'd be perfect for your team. I know you're looking for a forward. Let me pass along their information.
And that's on networking, right?
Oh, 100%.
So I do it all the time. I like the same coach that I literally was just mentioning is like, oh, we're having a tough recruiting year. I'm like, oh, we have a couple kids that want to transfer. So if you're looking for players, we're looking to help you out, because I am very fortunate that my like head coach has taught me to be the coach that I am right now, because he's just been around the block and he's great. He's phenomenal. I love the guy. Oh my gosh, I could like give him a hug. One of his mentalities is that like no matter what, if someone doesn't want to be there, we don't want to force them to be, right?
100%.
So if they want to go somewhere else, we're going to help them go somewhere else. Even if it's like not on the best of terms, for whatever reason it is of them leaving the school, we'll always give a letter or give a notice and talk highly about every kid that's been there, because we recruited them.
Sometimes they're a good kid, but they just might not fit that level of play, or they might just not fit into that culture.
It just doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. And if it doesn't work for whatever reason, we will 1,000% give you whatever you need to go somewhere else, because we want you to still play. We still want you to love the sport that you ultimately loved when you were like 8 years old or younger. You know what I mean? Where you fell in love and you were like that little kid that really just loved playing the game. And that's what you always want your team and your players of your team to feel, is that authentic love for the game when they were a kid. That innate love based off solely wanting to play the sport. No matter what, like fostering that environment in which players can go where they need because that's what they need. And
because of your network.
Good mentorship.
And good mentorship.
Because no matter what, we don't want to burn that bridge of being a mentor, right? So we want to keep it moving. And so like if they ever needed something down the line, they know they could still contact us, because we still gave that extra mile and gave an extra foot in the door and said, hey, like we give you a great letter of recommendation. We wish you the absolute best. We know it didn't work here, but we still love you and still hope that you continue your career.
And I would say that's what's different from a coach and a mentor. A coach, hey, it's not going to work out. You just don't have the X, Y, and Z for this team.
Yeah.
Good luck. Mentorship is like, you know what, you're a good kid. let me see if we can find a place for you somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Or at least help you get X, Y, and Z better. And really,
The extra mile.
the
The extra mile counts. And
Oh,
it
100%.
counts for a lot.
And again, I'll keep going back to it. It's a symbiotic relationship. There's something in that kid that makes you want to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
It makes you want to be giving. It makes you want to expand your network.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it comes like in the professional space, I see it and I hear it all the time, and I hear about mentorship all the time in the entrepreneurial space. Oh, you want to find $1 million mentor? Want to find a mentor? It's all over the place.
But you don't need $1 million mentor. I'm going to tell you right now, the secret of it is it doesn't cost $1 million to be a mentor.
No,
And I know from experience, because I don't have $1 million. So,
or not even like.
and I'm not charging $1 million to be your mentor if you want me to be your mentor.
Yeah.
All jokes, but still.
100%. Or they just don't want to put any value forward. Like, let's say the biggest piece of advice that I give to recent graduates, and that's high school, that's college, is if there's something you think you want to do, go find someone who's doing it and talk to them about it.
Yeah.
If you want to be a physical therapist, if you want to, open up like a bike store, if you want to go into the military.
I'd take it one step further, and I would even say go talk to the person that is best at their craft. Because if you're going to the person that is best at their craft, they're going to have the best ins and outs secrets as to how they started and where they've gone to, and the process of that journey of the ups and downs of finding that balance of failing, but like challenging yourself and also overcoming things. Because when you're like looking for someone and they're subpar, or maybe they're just good at their job or whatever. Subpar is not the right way of saying it, but like they're good at their job. They may not like give you those like nuggets that you need, you know what I mean? But like finding the person that's like has the most expertise is like the person you want to be at.
How do you find that person?
It's all off of your perspective, right?
Okay.
So if you walk into a room and you see a room full of crowded people in your boardroom or something like that, and there's someone in the room that everyone wants to talk to, that's the person I want to go talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Because they definitely have a reason for where they are, why they are where they are right now in like success.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably will tell you about it. And if you ask not what they do, but instead how they got to where they are, you'll get the journey. You'll get the story. You'll get all the tidbits.
That's a good piece of advice. I like that. Ask how they got there. What was their process
Not what they
like?
do. Because everyone always asks, like, right when you meet someone,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do? What's your career? What's your occupation? Oh, I'm this. Cool. Awesome. But when you go like, so this is something I learned traveling,
Yeah.
is that like European culture, they'll be like, oh, how did you get to where you are today?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they ask. The journey, not what you do now. I don't care what you do now. I'm sure you did it great. You do it great every day. But how did you get there?
Yeah.
Those challenges. How do you overcome things? The growth periods, the ache and pains that you get, the growing pains, those things that matter. Because everyone goes through them. Those are the things that are important. Those are what you want to know. And that's how you get to like the next level. It's like by going through those challenges. If you always just like go through life and you're at this mundane level the entire time, you're never going to get anywhere. You're
Mm-hmm.
never going to get any higher.
So by asking them about how they got there, what was their journey like? What is like an important lesson that they wish they knew when they started out? Those type of questions versus like, what do you do?
Or how much can I pay to get there? Like, no, you don't want the shortcuts. Everyone wants the shortcuts because they're quick, instant gratification, but they don't want any of the challenges to get where it needs to be successful.
Well, I would say you have to find a mentor that's willing to help you give the foundation
And
in
challenge
return.
you
Mm-hmm.
to find that.
Yeah, but I would also say there's usually something you have to give in return, whether it's, I know with internships, it's, maybe you're working for free, your time, money, you're giving something back, or it's something like that you did that was extra that inspired them to help you, going back to your mentorship.
Yeah.
So there's always something.
Give and take. Yeah.
There's always a give and take there.
No, I think you're right in that. But I think when you're asking those questions of how did you get where you are versus what do you do, that almost is enough give and take in itself. You're
100%.
asking.
I think that's
that
a good.
question.
That's 100% a good. I'd say a good door opener for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and professional mentors are extremely important when you're trying to gain specific skills in fields that you're trying to work in, right?
Oh, 100%.
Whether it be like, discipline, teamwork, like resilience, like all those skills come from like learning from people above you, or you can't learn to be a leader overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's someone's guided you and given you some sort of wisdom or tidbit or something. Like it's a learned skill, it's an acquired skill. I think we've talked about that a little bit before.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's also finding a mentor that are going to give you those intangibles, but they're also going to give you those hard skills. Mm-hmm. So it's, for example, like in sales, you want someone who's going to help you with those scripts and those cold calls or cold emails and help you with those kind of hard skills, but also be the one to say, all right, well, you got to be calling and calling all day. You got to be disciplined. You have to be relentless. And again, that's just in sales. That's just one space. Yeah. But I know it's a very relatable space.
Yeah, absolutely. What is like a mentor that has helped you professionally? Do you have any stories or tidbits or anything you've learned
that's a good one.
Professionally?
I have one mentor in the entrepreneurial space who's been absolutely super influential on me. When I first started working with them, they essentially, before they taught me any like hard skills, like any, I'm getting in kind of like the sales space and copywriting space. And they're like, before we talk about sales, before we talk about copywriting, we're going to talk about like health and discipline. They talked about the value of time, the value of being disciplined, and
the whole body.
Kind of like the whole body. Like they did there was like a whole conversation on like sleep.
Yeah, the whole overarching. How everything affects you, right?
Yeah, how everything affects you. It's like you can go out there and you can be an animal.
Yeah.
But you have to take care of yourself. And this is before they started talking about like the technical like scripts and everything and the writing and all of those hard skills. They're like, you need to take care of yourself. You need, again, a whole conversation on sleep. I'm like, why are we talking about sleep? I just want to learn how to make money with words. Why are we? It was this very kind of, literally for 2 weeks, that's all it was, which I've had a lot of mentors in the past in those similar spaces where they just get directly into the hard skills, like, oh, this is what I'm going to teach you, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then you go out and you try and do it.
That's a coach, though.
Yeah, and that's a coach. Yep. And that's kind of how it was presented.
Yeah.
And then when I got into this group, they start talking about health and wellness and like the discipline.
Taking care of yourself so that you can take care of your career and your job.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. And I can't give hard examples, but that was the shift for me where the first thing we talked about was taking care of yourself, taking care of your body.
Yeah.
And then they got into like all the hard skills and technical things, but
definitely
it was a shift. And I think that goes back to what you were saying, where it's those intrinsic things of how can we make you better so you can do better.
Well, when you're at your optimal and your best performance is when, like sports-wise, is when mentally and physically you're also at your best, right?
That's a good point.
So you're not going to be performing at your best if you aren't taking care of yourself. You're not getting sleep. You're not having proper nutrition. You're not having deep, meaningful relationships with people. You don't have a support system. Those are things that make you who you are and make you a better athlete in return. They go hand in hand. They're not. There's not one or the other. You have poor sleep, you're going to have poor performance. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. A rock star, you can do it for a little bit. Maybe. If you're like a Kobe Bryant or something, maybe you could go a day not sleeping, but, getting after it. Kobe Bryant. Right, we are. So here we are. All of us normal human beings who have to work at things, need to get proper sleep, need to eat right, need to have discipline, need to have those things that will translate to the field or performance in your career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's super important. But yeah, it was such a mind shift. It was such like a mind shift. I'm like,
Yeah.
because I'm very much so like, okay, let's get down to business. Let's get into the nitty gritty.
You're so logical.
And they're like, let's talk about sleep. We're going to talk about meditation.
Mm-hmm.
They went into like red light therapy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is
You're like, this is the loony bin.
Like, what is this? Like, really smart people.
Right. Well, there's also a thing I saw. I don't quote me on who, but someone who I've seen over like I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on like the Instagram Reels, and my Instagram is full of like positivity and like motivation, stuff like that. And they talk about how you won't see a lot of like really high entrepreneurs in the world like drinking alcohol and partying and like wasting time on those things. You'll see them like working on themselves, like making sure that the time they were taking away from their craft is putting themselves in a more optimal position for self-love and self-growth and self-development. So they'll read, they'll go exercise, they'll have a healthy meal, those types of things that will correlate directly to their professional life.
100%.
Which is like we've been talking about the translations. We can talk about it in sports. We can talk about professional field. We can. It all is one. It's all encompassing.
Well, and think about those entrepreneurs. And again, it can be entrepreneurs. It could be physiologists.
Surgeons.
It could be surgeons.
They don't get sleep. They're not cutting someone open probably the same way that they would if they had 12. Their 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah. When you think about all these different people and all these different professions, they all have a network. They all started with a mentor, then turned into another mentor, that turned it, I know this person. And it's almost then you're paying it forward. It's like, okay,
because then they can start mentoring other people.
100%.
Because if you have had really good mentors in your lives who have shaped you to be who you are, you can take those nuggets of wisdom and share them with other people and become mentors yourself and create generational growth. And that is something that you can't measure and you can never have enough of.
Generational growth. I absolutely love that term. Generational growth. I've heard of generational wealth, but generational growth might be better. Might be better.
Don't say that I coined that. I don't think I did. I think I probably stole that from someone.
That's
so
okay.
whoever said that first, thank you very much for giving me that.
Well, it's just sharing the nuggets of wisdom. It's just taking all those building blocks.
Yeah. Creates that ripple effect of positive influence, right?
100%.
Cycle of positivity. It's just, when you have someone affecting your life, you're more likely to affect someone else in a positive way. The same thing 100%. Can go negatively. So that's why it's important to have those positive influences and share those positive moments with other people. You can be negative and you want to have more positivity in life because there's just no reason to have more negative when the world can be so chaotic itself.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I can go into a whole thing with law of attraction, but again, I'm not. But
stay on our
with the good vibe, like having, again, if this is going to sound a little wonky-tonky.
Get funky with us for a second.
But you've heard like good vibes, having good vibes.
Yeah.
Like they have good vibes. Like you said, that ripple effect and that spread and wave of positivity.
The energy. You can feel it.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a wavelength. And the one thing I can always say is like, okay, we're on the same wavelength. Yeah. We're on the same vibrational frequency.
Yep.
And I think you can feel it, not only from a mentor-mentee relationship, but you can feel it within your network. I've been out to dinner with people, and you can just feel it's not there.
Yeah.
I go out to dinner with different set of people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is here. Good conversation, good talks, good feelings.
Yeah.
You can just feel it. And mentorship it feels good to be a mentor too. If just from a human perspective, it feels good to give back.
Yeah.
And you're also in turn.
That's the cycle that you're getting at, right? So it feels good to mentor someone else. Mm-hmm. It also feels good to see like that mentee that you're mentoring like grow and develop. Mm-hmm. But then in return, it also feels good to see them giving that to someone else. Yeah. It's that loop because you're getting all of that natural dopamine.
To be a little bit of devil's advocate for a second, that doesn't just mean go out and spout all of your knowledge, because some people don't want to be mentored. That's not what we're getting at. there are people that want to be mentored and people that don't want to be mentored. Again, it's that symbiotic relationship where if they're giving you something, you give them something.
And you also can feel that. That's the energy that you're talking about, right? So
Yeah.
you know if someone wants to hear what you're saying, and you also know when they're giving back to you, because you'll feel that conversation. You'll feel that deep, meaningful relationship. You'll feel that
100%.
vulnerability within that. That trust and that respect within that relationship, right? Which is what we talked about was like the core foundation of mentorship. Trust and that relationship growth.
Oh, 100%.
And respect.
Yeah, trust and respect. You trust them that you're going to help them, they're going to help you, and you respect their knowledge and where they're at, and they're respecting where you're at, and you're climbing together. And that could also be if in a peer relationship too. I know we've talked a lot on, it being kind of like a superior, inferior, like a wise mentor who's been through the ringer and someone who's just starting out. Peers can be mentors. Peers are part of your network. Yeah. Your network is your net worth. And I will always say that. They're the ones that are going to make you grow spiritually. They're the ones that are going to make you grow mentally. It could be financially, in the right circles, but they're the ones that are going to make you grow as a person.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like I said before, when I was saying that you want to find the person in the room that has like the most, or is at the highest, it doesn't have to mean that they're like a millionaire doing whatever. It could just be like the peer that's like has their stuff together, and like you just are like, you want to embody that as well, right? So it's something that you want to embody. It doesn't have to be this huge gap of whatever. It can literally be someone your age doing the exact same thing. They just are, at the best of what you're looking to do.
Yeah, they're doing something you found they're doing it really well and really good, and you want to take a golden nugget from them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for like in the soccer realm, for me personally, I had like seniors when I was a freshman who were playing every minute of every game. So I went and practiced with them because I wanted to be where they were at. Was I at the same level? No, I was a freshman. There was no reason to be at the same level as a seasoned, players that were playing internationally at the highest level possible from their home country. Like there was no reason for me to be there. I was not that good. Yeah. But I wanted to be there, so I learned from them, and I went and I practiced with them, and I did extra, and they also, in return, would go to the field with me and do extra because they saw how I wanted to get better and grow. It's those relationships. We both get things from it, but they don't have to be like, it didn't have to be a professional soccer player like Messi teaching me that. It was just my seniors that I trusted and respected. Trust and respect.
Yeah, it's just someone who you saw was doing something a little bit better, doing something a little bit right that you wanted to learn from and take from. And I think that's the key there, is figuring out ways to get yourself in that room, get yourself in that space. Because I use this term all the time, you're learning through osmosis. They might not be verbally telling you, hey, this is what I'm doing, but you see it, you feel it. You're in that room, you're doing those drills, you're sitting at the table, hearing those conversations, and you're taking those little nuggets here and there.
That's why it's so important, they say, to like have all of that. Like you said, every realm of it, take it in, see it, hear it, do it, all of the senses, as many senses as you can attach to certain things, you'll learn more from. So that's really important, really cool. I like that part about osmosis. That was important.
Because you're going to constantly learn. It's just, and I think it's just having an awareness of it. Even like in the workplace I'm in, I'm taking little tidbits. We have a very open office space. Yeah. So there's a lot of conversations, not private conversations, but just like conversations that are just happening openly. Right. And even just listening, not overhearing, but like just kind of like you hear, how two principal investigators are, talking to each other and, planning on collaborating. I'm like, okay, so that's a good back and forth. Yeah. It's just learning through osmosis. Yeah, absolutely. And being in that room and just being hungry to learn. I think that's what's going to get you in those rooms. And that's what's going to motivate mentors, whatever level. It's good to go for the highest person in the room. Yeah. And the way you're going to do that, I feel like, is by being hungry to learn.
And being humble about it, right? Knowing that you're always going to be at the highest at where you are. There's always something to learn. And I think that's the coolest part about it. because you can always, like you said, you be a mentor to me, and everyone else can also be a mentor to you. It just has to be like what you can take and give from people.
Yeah, it's a give and take. Who you surround yourself with is, who you learn from.
Yeah.
It's how you develop habits.
Right.
And it's very gratifying to have if you can find it. And even if like you don't have that circle, if you're trying to find that circle,
It'll come if you're looking for it. I promise you that. It might not be right this second, but just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Grind it out. You'll find it. You'll find it.
And again, Ailaina, I was so excited you brought this to the table to talk about, because this is exactly what this is for. We're not these big professional athletes. I'd say we're grinders, we're hustlers, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful to have you in my circle. And this is what the Beyond the Cleats, this was the inception, was to create a space to have these conversations and have the opportunity for you guys to reach out to us. We want you guys to reach out to us. If you have questions, if you're struggling with something, we want that door to be open.
Yeah, right. And we're not professionals, like you said. We are straight up the average Joes.
We're just trying to figure out life too.
Athletes working through some.
We're just here with mics talking about it, trying to figure it out. We don't got all the answers, but it's being in the room.
Yeah.
And we want
holding
creating
space
that
for
space
it.
and holding
Yes,
space
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
There we are on the same wavelength.
Yes.
Ailaina, this was awesome. Super grateful for this conversation. We'll check you guys next time on the Beyond the Cleats podcast.